All right, welcome back to the adventure, the unplanned adventures. We've got a packed show tonight. Unfortunately, I had to go to a backup system, and so I get the fancy little background. I don't get a fancy intro, and I'm very limited on picks. Matter of fact, I'm very limited. Period, because this computer can barely do what it's doing right now. Hopefully, it can hold up to what I'm going to do here, and make it through the entire thing. But you know, like I said, tonight we're going to talk about Michigan trails, updates, closures, groomer reports, accidents, recalls. I even found some recalls out there, and then I went through last night and then this morning and added a bunch of groups to my Facebook page. Added a bunch of groups on there, and I went ahead and um, sent this link out to a bunch of those extra groups. So I'm hoping they'll be on here tonight, and hopefully they'll say something in the chat because I cannot see any. Not like last night where I had everything up here. I could see if somebody was online or on there watching it. Now I can't see any of that. So it is just it's just me talking. So if you have to say anything or tell me anything, it's in the chat. Um, so one thing I want to talk about is last night and the night before I talked about Trail 45, Bark Motel, and I mentioned everything that they're doing up there. And matter of fact, I think last night I even told people I didn't even get the guy's name. His name is Mike. Mike does a lot of great things up there on Trail 45, and so I need to correct something. When I mentioned the snowmobilers that wrecked or found the water anyway, um, I mentioned that they went off the trail where they did not go off the trail. If you see, and if anybody has been on that Facebook site and saw the different pictures, they didn't go off the trail. They were on the trail. It's just there's right now there's snow on top of the water, so you can't even see the water. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've done this. I did this on that exact trail a couple years ago. We had some really good snow, fell down, and it was great. I went. I said, you know what? Hey, let's go this way and follow me. And they shouldn't have listened. Uh, and we went into that trail, and maybe 50 yards in, like I said, we were in water, standing water, and it was no good. So, like I said, I wanted to correct that. I wanted to be accurate. Did not want to. I also didn't want to, in case the person that this happened to got on there, I didn't want them to feel like I was, picking on them or anything like that. It happens. This happens. There's places all over the place, and especially in Indian River and some other areas that the snow gets over top of it and you just don't even see it. And some of the things I'm going to go over tonight, some of the unfortunately they're tragic. They're going to have a little bit of that, and you're going to we're going to see that, or we're going to talk about. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull this up here because that way I can see anything. All right. Um, So first off, I want to talk about Michigan trail closures and reroutes. Four Flag Snowmobile up in Manistee. I might be saying that wrong. Manistee. Schoolcraft County. That's easier. I'll say that. Or the Indian Lake area. The trail north of Indian Lake is still closed for rerouting. Some riders ignored this closure and rode onto private property. The landowners have started calling the police, and um, just so that people realize that if that starts happening, it can endanger any of the trails up there. So please, do the best you can. We've all been, we've all gotten off the beaten path and tried to get back somewhere, or a trail's closed and we're still trying to get somewhere, and we've had to do some different things. But cutting through somebody's yard is probably not the best answer. And snowmobilers don't get lost; they just get unexpectedly familiar with new terrain. That's what I tell myself. And let's not make the terrain somebody's private property. Other closures in Benzie and Lee Lanu County. Hopefully, I'm saying that wrong. And somebody could correct me. I don't know how you're going to do that over a chat, but maybe maybe somebody correct me on that one. But Trail 3 no longer goes to Maple City. The county and the other problem is the county denied the road use permit, so you can't uh, you can't even get to Maple City right now. Um, and some people have gone to tearing down a fence, and they're going through a private field. So they're also saying that's the next step to losing access to any of the trails that might be open or reopened. Trail 763 in Petoskey and Emmett County. It's a brand new reroute near Chandler Hill Road. Um, you need to follow the updated marked trail. If you hit a bump so hard, your uh, your your soul leaves your body. Congratulations, you found the old trail. Um, so I'm looking forward. I ride that place quite a bit, so I'm looking forward to seeing that new trail there. I have an idea. I had my computer set up to show all of these video or all of these different things, and I did not want to cancel tonight. I wanted to make sure I got on here. I didn't want to cancel tonight. I wanted to finish, doing this because tomorrow night I will not be on here, and I plan to pick up on again Thursday night and possibly Friday. And if I waited and didn't get some of these uh, things out here, it would probably be a whole bunch more. So also, you know, so that's all I had for trail updates at this time in Michigan. And so Michigan groomer updates. The Trail 8 groomer breakdown. Sault Ste. Marie, Chippewa County. The groomer broke down on the 20th Street and 5 mile marker, or 5 mile after removing multiple fallen trees. So shout out to the groomers that are out there doing that. It's and I had some really good, well, I wouldn't say really good pictures because the guys were working hard, but I had some pictures of the trees that are still down, crossing some of the trails and everything. So, um, but I promise I will bring some of those on the Thursday, uh, on the Thursday stream. I will put some of that in there, and hopefully we'll be able to, talk about those if anybody knows that area. Uh, Munsing in the Agler County, there's a lot of trees down. There's a lot of swamp holes. So they're reporting that there's soft ground and limited grooming because of that. So just be careful up there. And they also one of the sites posted the Christmas gas station is closed until December 16th. So if you're up there, just be careful and also watch your fuel. All right, I'm going to say this one. I hope Gogabik. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm butchering it. Um, but the 3 feet of wet, heavy snow. They've had a lot of snow in the last couple of days, so that's great. And then Snowbusters Trail 182, St. Joseph County, groomer is smoothing things out early. 2 volunteers handled it, is what they posted on their website. So just to give you an idea, one of the sites that popped up, AJ's Lodge and Oven. If anybody's up there around AJ's Lodge and Oven, go check it out. Um, they put on their website that they do uh, like how they put it, old. I don't think they put old timey on there, but almost like an antique look or stepping back in time. Those of you that just joined, you see that my background. I'm back to the garage of how I originally started because I had to jump on here and use a backup computer. This computer does not handle things as well as my other computer does, and I'm also looking at a couple other options. So hopefully, I will be able to upgrade all of this very soon. All right, so the Michigan Sledheads, they reported that there's deep snow in the Upper Peninsula, debris, and then there's plenty of wet spots, and the lower over T. What is wrong with me tonight? I got a backup computer and I got a backup mouse. So, uh, Lower Peninsula, over 2 feet in Antrim and Charlevoix. See, I can say Charlevoix. I know how to say that one. Um, Emmett County, riding well, lake effect pockets. And so just you got to be careful. Part of this segment tonight, we'll also talk about some ice conditions. And, it even goes over one of the things that I downloaded, went over that. I wanted to put the videos on here. Unfortunately, again, had to go to a backup computer, had to go to a backup system. Um, the fact that it's working as well it is right now, I kind of half expected it to shut down a couple minutes into this. If anybody knows any of this stuff I'm talking about, these different closures and everything else, please, by all means, say something, put something in the chat. Maybe I can put something out if you need to. So far, it says already this season, but I think when I did my research, it was pulling from last year or for the whole year of 2025. But it claims that there's, the sites that I use claim that there's already been 16 fatal snowmobile crashes already this season. Common factors are leaving the trail, hitting trees, speed, alcohol and drugs, and loss of control on the corner. So, recent fatal crashes, Mecosta County, on White Pine Trail. The Unfortunately, the rider went off there and he struck a tree. Mansalona Township and Antrim County. Like I said, I got a backup computer and backup mouse tonight. Crazy. Um, Rider was killed at the scene. Again, went off the trail, hit a tree. Um, Auger County. I know I'm messing that up. A 60-year old from Edwardsburg. Um, they don't know exactly what happened. He did go off the trail. Speed suspected. Alcohol was not involved. They were able to rule that out. Um, Unfortunately, Hancock County, they had a 18-year-old who went off the trail. It didn't get hurt. Wasn't a fatality, but the 18-year-old is going to be charged with a uh, alcohol and drugs or DUI. So just remember, trail laws equal road laws. So you get a DUI on your snowmobile, that carries over into everything else. It's unfortunate, and just be careful. Um, you know, I don't go out here and judge anybody what they're going to do, but I have gone to several different places riding the trail, and I show up to a bar and I've watched people sit over there, sit at another table and pound drinks. I've seen people pound shots and then go jump on a snowmobile, and it's just yeah, I don't know. It's a little sketchy to me. I would be I like to drink a little bit just like everybody else, but I'd be a little bit worried if I jumped on a snowmobile and ran down the trail because it doesn't matter how much you drink, that tree's still going to hurt. Uh, so what I was talking about earlier was the DNR. DNR has an ice warning out. They hold. If you go to the DNR website, they put out a whole thing. And again, that was one of the pictures and one of the things that I had all set up to show you the different things. Um, and it's just basically at this time of year, avoid the ice as much as you can. Stay off of it. Um, if you happen to fall in, stay calm. If your buddy falls in, uh, if your buddy falls in, you go ahead and record vertically for TikTok. No. If your buddy falls in, don't run out on the ice. Try and get something to reach out there and give it, help them out. If you fall in, try to, if you fall down on the ice, you start to fall in, make yourself as flat as possible and try and ease yourself out, reach for something. Uh, you know, if you're I know around where I'm at, up there at Burt Lake and Mullet Lake and stuff like that. If you're around the edges, the good thing and you can be quite a ways out in some of those lakes. And the good thing is you can pretty much stand up, and you're in about maybe waist deep water. But cold is cold, doesn't matter. If you fall in out there, you definitely got to stay calm, and then you've got to get yourself out of there as soon as possible, and then start actively warming because it won't take much to get hypothermia. Um, they had well, I'm not going to go into that because it cut off everything, but there was a part of the research I had was a truck lost control, but it took off the thing I have here took off what county that was, so it doesn't really do you any good because a bunch of them lost control. Um, so community highlights. So this is a Big Rapids in Mecosta County, the Sawmill Saloon. Oh, that's the it talks about being a classic sled hangout. So I don't know. You guys go check that out. Somebody go check that out, and let's report back and see if that's any good. What I am worried about is some of this stuff might be in Wisconsin or Minnesota, some other areas. Because again, I added some groups, and it started expanding me way out west and actually up to Vermont and so on and so forth. So hopefully, hopefully we'll be able to you know branch out, maybe even hear about some different places. So I noticed the other day, or actually went the other day, last night I was going through and Toski is already advertising that Sundays they're doing their breakfast. I do recommend go on their Toski Snowmobile and ORV Club Facebook. Check it out, follow that, and keep track of what they're doing. But right now they're doing a Sunday buffet, 8 to noon, and like I said, I've been there several times. We try to go every time we're up there, and it's a good time. You're supporting the club, you're supporting them grooming, and it all goes to a good cause. Um, the other one I've got to get some dates on is the I-500. I want to get the date on that because that might be a lot of fun. I wonder if I can get that right now. Let's see. Let's see if this computer will hold up long enough